Studies are showing that Gen Z individuals are the most risk-averse group and one of the generations least willing to take any sort of risks, and even having social anxiety over making phone calls to set up appointments or order their own food. Why is this happening, and why I think it's not really their fault? Hello everyone, welcome back to It's Thomas. I talk about all sorts of topics related to self-improvement and finance. If you love stuff like that, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. What I want to talk about though is how complacency amongst all the generations, specifically what's going on with Gen Z, is actually making things worse and isn't improving your life. The quest for comfortability is what's going to leave you depressed and actually unhappy. As I mentioned before, studies are showing that Gen Z individuals are avoiding risk at all costs. And I actually don't think a lot of that is their fault. We're set up in a society where we have a voluntary surveillance state where everyone has a cell phone. Everyone can pull it out at any time and record what you're doing. So already if you're trying to step out of the norm, step out of bounds, try something, anyone can pull out their phone at any time and start recording you. No wonder that we have a generation that is so anxious all the time and feels like that they can't do anything right when they're constantly being watched and being tracked. Not only that, Gen Z was the youngest generation to go through the pandemic where they were in college or they had jobs and a lot of things were moved to remote working, just removing any more chance at social interaction with other individuals. And we're constantly put into their mind that they're going to spread a disease to someone else or hurt someone else. So it's no wonder that they've grown even more and more anxious over the last 4 or 5 years now that we're coming out of that phase of existence. But let me tell you, you need to do everything you can to fight against this urge to be risk averse and complacent. Let me actually tell you a little bit of a story. I always thought that, for me in college and coming out of college, that if I found a place where I was very comfortable, where I wasn't being challenged, where I wasn't in college, where I was broke, constantly studying, working to pay for college in and of itself, and take all these exams, move forward in my career in life. If I finally got to a place where I had the job, I was making a good amount of money, and I didn't have to worry about any of those things, that would be the ultimate goal. Like that would be the ultimate thing that I could work for. And once I got to this mountaintop of comfortability and complacency, I finally could be truly happy because nothing could be pressing me to do anything. I would have saved up a lot of money, and so I wouldn't even really need my job if I decided not to work or anything like that. I could kind of just sit around and chill out. And what I realized is that as I made this quest more and more a part of my life, and as I got closer to that goal of getting out of college and then reaching some sort of form of financial security, I actually got more and more depressed and more unhappy as it went along. And I was way less happy than when I was in college, broke and struggling and studying like 40, 50 hours a week in engineering school to try and pass my exams. And I was thinking, why was this? And it's because as humans, we're not built to reach the most complacent point as possible. That's not what makes life worth living. Now, you can just go by and try and exist and, just try and live, but that's not really living a worthwhile life. Life has risks. Life has interesting twists and turns. Life has challenges. Without these challenges, if you put yourself in a place where you're completely isolated from them, where you're sitting in a room full of pillows and nothing can happen to you, well, soon you'd start to forget what the purpose is for why you were doing this at all. There's nothing interesting going on in your life. There's no goals. There's no reason to do it anymore. You're just sitting at a mountaintop of complacency with nothing else to do, and this doesn't leave you satisfied. Like I said, it was some of my moments when I was struggling the hardest when I was in school and college and just with my friends. And like I said, I had no money. Like I would fret over any purchase over $10 and really have to consider it. I rarely ate out ever. But why was I more happy then than when I got to this point where I had financial security, I had a great job that wasn't super stressful? Why was I so unhappy there? And it made me think and realize, is complacency slowly killing my drive? Is it slowly killing my passion and my purpose? What makes it worse is we have so many modern conveniences now that takes away a lot of the stressful or social interactions that we can have on a day-to-day basis. With apps like DoorDash and Uber Eats, people don't even need to go and sit down in a restaurant and order their food. They can do it right from their phone. And with apps such as Netflix and Amazon Prime, you don't even have to go to a movie theater to enjoy entertainment or go and hang out with your friends and call them and, do something that night, come up with something to do that night. You can just sit at home with your Uber Eats and watch a TV show and go right to bed. No risks, right? You can do whatever you want. But it's this attitude that's slowly killing our generation in, a metaphorical sense, and slowly making them depassionate, demotivated, demoralized, and taking away all the drive and meaning from our lives. Because the ultimate goal of life is to just be as comfortable as possible. Well, that's not going to breed any creativity. It's really when things are under stress, when you are under the most stress or there's a drive to do something, there's a need to solve a problem, or solution that people rise to the top and things start to move forward in a certain way. Think about times in your life. Think about times where, you were just able to sit back and be absolutely comfortable. Maybe it was on a vacation and maybe it was awesome. But if you've had an extended period of time where you had nothing to do, you had no real responsibilities, you start to realize that your world starts to get smaller and smaller as your responsibilities shrink. And even very, very small things can drive you up a wall and make you anxious. And it's sort of like this spiral where, the smaller you make your world, the more the smaller things make you anxious. And then because those things are making you anxious, you make your world even smaller. And then it kind of continues to go that way. And if you don't learn to break out of your comfort zone and experience different things and start to take risks, it's going to continue down that same path. So for me, I had this realization that I'd reached this point where I was shooting for comfort. I thought I wanted just to be as comfortable as possible, isolated from risk as possible. And then I realized, wait, that's not really the goal and purpose. That's not why I'm doing this. This isn't making me as happy as I thought it would. And I decided, you know what? It's time to start taking risks again. It's time to start going for things, having a purpose, going, you know what? I may fail, I may, end up flat on my face if I do this, but you know what? That's okay, because at least I tried it. And looking back in my life, if I think about all the different chances I've taken, all the risks I've taken, rarely do I ever go, man, that was a terrible idea. I wish I never had done that. Most of the time you go, you know what? That didn't end up great, or that didn't end up exactly how I wanted it, but I'm so glad I gave that a shot. I'm so glad I had that experience, because the only way we really learn, the only way that we really improve as people and grow is if we challenge ourselves. And a lot of the time that's actually through failure. When we fail, we learn so much because one, we learn how to handle failure, because failure will happen no matter what. You can't set yourself up in a way where you can avoid all forms of failure. It's going to happen to you. Bad things are going to happen to you. Events are going to happen to you. I don't wish them to happen, but they do, because that's a part of life. And so when you take risks and you fail, you learn how to deal with that failure. You also learn how to deal with the uncomfortability of taking a risk, of having that knot in your stomach going, I don't know if this is going to work out. This is an uncomfortable situation. And slowly you adapt to that more. You're able to take more risks. You're able to feel the adrenaline kick in and go, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to be able to handle this. And that really helps you as you take on more and more stressful situations and more challenging projects. Because you can't really grow past that if you're just, anytime you face something uncomfortable, you just shrivel away. That's not a way to move forward in life. That's not how you're going to accomplish your real dreams and your real passions. Because I thought my real dream was, if I'm just as comfortable as possible, isolated from any risk, then I'll be perfectly fine because I'll have no anxiety. But really, life almost becomes purposeless at that point, because you can't achieve the real goals you want. The real goals you want is not to be as comfortable as possible, but is whatever you're shooting for, whether it's financial security, getting a better job, making money doing your passion, helping others, whatever that happens to be. Those should be the real goals in life, not to isolate yourself from the world and any form of risk. And that's what I had wrong. So if in your life today you find yourself getting more and more comfortable using modern conveniences just to shield yourself from any form of the world, from talking to people, taking any risks, having to go out and do anything, and have that risk of someone pointing out, well, why is that guy doing that thing, and being afraid of what people are going to say, take some baby steps to turn this around, because this is what really is going to reinvigorate yourself in life. I've been doing this a lot more lately. I just feel so much more passionate about everything I'm doing because I realize so many more options are available to me. My world has expanded so much because I've decided, hey, this world's a big place. I'm going to take some risks. I'm going to do some things. I may fall flat on my face, but you know what? It might be successful too, and that would be awesome. It might improve my life in the best way. So if you're one of those people, I'm not blaming you at all, because society has really kind of set ourselves up to be very anxious, to be very risk averse, and unfortunately that's where things are going. But start with some baby steps. Take some smaller and smaller risks. If you never talk to people in line at Chipotle, for example, maybe just talk to one stranger in line. Break a little bit out of your comfort zone, whether it's socially, whether it's taking risks and starting a business or a YouTube channel or something, or sharing some of your artwork with other people, or going out downtown on a Friday night and just seeing what's going on, see what you can do, see the people you can talk to. Just find the small ways to do that. And slowly you'll find your world expanding, and slowly you'll find yourself feeling good when you take those risks and realizing it's not that bad when it fails, or it's really not that bad while it happens. We always cook up things to be worse in our head than when we actually go do it. Think about, for example, when you go up and talk to a stranger and you become friends with them, or you ask a girl out, right? In your head, you're building up to this super ridiculously stressful thing. Like, this is going to be so bad. This can go so bad. But really, when the whole event's over 10 seconds later and you have that pit in your stomach, you go, It really wasn't that bad. Nothing bad happened. There were really no bad consequences. Instead, I learned and grow from it. And now the next time I do it, I can be super confident and I won't bat an eye when I go to do it again. That's the feeling you want. You want to be able to take risks and do things and not be able to bat an eye. Now, I'm not saying be reckless and just do absolutely anything and don't think through your decisions at all. But take calculated risks. Go, I want this, but I'm just too scared to do it. That's where you start to move towards that, not doing reckless things. So if you have a real goal, whether it's improving your social circle, your financial circle, starting a YouTube channel, learn an instrument, whatever it happens to be, find ways and write down how you can move towards those goals, even if it's uncomfortable. Start very small and build on that. I have a previous video on how you can slowly build towards working towards your goals. Start small, accomplish them, make promises to yourself and keep them and continue moving towards them. I'm still on this journey of taking more and more risks. I'm absolutely loving it. The more risks I take in terms of moving towards my goal, the better and better I feel about myself, the more I feel like I can accomplish, and the more motivated I am when I get up every morning. So I hope that video was helpful. Leave a comment down below. Do you have an experience of this where you just started to avoid all risks in your life and try to be as comfortable as possible and hasn't made you as happy? Well, leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the entire topic. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.